welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we're diving back into Twilight. We are on chapter 17, The Game.
That's right. Now, before we get too deep into things, just a reminder, you can find us at TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. The handle for all four is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast. That's Chronicles with an S. We would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and follow.
Yes. All right. Well, last week we did chapters 15 and 16. So if you want more in depth, go check it out. But Connie's going to give us a very, very brief summary.
All right. Cliff Notes version, folks. Buckle in. Essentially, we finally have the much awaited moment where Bella gets to meet the rest of the Carlisle and Cullen clan, except for Rosalie and Emmett. She connects really well with Esme, Edward's mother. She gets to learn more about Carlisle's past, as well as how Edward came to be a part of the family.
Which was really cool. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Carlisle's past, which was awesome. And then we also get to hear a little bit about how Edward became a vampire, as well as his rebellion years. And the chapter ends with Alice and Jasper coming in and saying, hey, there's going to be a thunderstorm tonight. Let's play baseball. And Bella's like, you guys like baseball? And Edward's like, of course we do. It's the American pastime. We're going to play. You're going to watch.
Yeah. All right. So chapter 17 starts with Edward driving Bella home. When they reach Charlie's house, Edward parked against the curb. There was a black Ford car in the driveway, and Jacob Black and his father were waiting at the door. Edward was furious. This was crossing a line. Billy and Edward are glaring at each other, and Bella suggests that she should deal with it. To her surprise, Edward agrees, but warns her to be careful, as the child, Jacob, 2 years younger than Bella, has no idea. Bella reminds Edward that she is not much older than Jacob, and Edward grins at her and assures her that he knows. So she's a child. Edward instructs Bella to take them inside so he can leave. Bella offers for him to take her truck, but Edward only rolls his eyes and responds that he can walk faster than the truck can move, and he'll be back soon. Edward gives her a kiss, quote, just under the edge of my jaw, end quote. Yeah, and that is why I put the quote in there, because why?
Because not neck, but just
under the jaw?
I don't remember that from Midnight Sun, but knowing Edward as we now know him, and from reading Midnight Sun, so everything from his perspective, I can totally see him doing that just as like a jab at Billy Black.
Probably, but just a weird area. Why just under the jaw? Anywho.
We got questions. He's eaten her tears, and now there's this. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last episode. I'm still traumatized.
Yeah. You guys didn't get to see the full extent of that either. So
the trauma continued off camera. Believe me, I was asking for quite a while after we finished recording what the heck was up with that.
So getting off of that, Billy's face was no longer impassive, and his hands were clutching at the armrests of his wheelchair. Bella greets Billy and Jacob cheerfully and tells them that Charlie was gone for the day. Billy tells her that they haven't been waiting long, but wanted to bring him some homemade fish fry, which was Charlie's favorite. Bella invites them in and goes to put the fish fry in the fridge, which didn't sound like contains fish. Like it's just like the fish fry batter, I guess. It confused me for a while. Yeah, anyways. Billy asks if Charlie was fishing in his usual spot. Maybe he'd go and pay him a visit. Bella lies that Charlie went to some new spot and she can't remember the name of it. Billy instructs Jacob to go get the new picture of Rebecca out of his car. He wants to leave it for Charlie as well. After an awkward silence, Bella tells Billy in an almost rude voice that Charlie won't be back for a long time, but thanks again for the fish fry. Billy nods and cautiously says Charlie is one of his best friends. Billy has noticed that she is spending a lot of time with one of the Cullens, and maybe it's none of his business, but he doesn't think that is a good idea. She is probably unaware, but the Cullens have some not so great reputation on the reservation. Bella interrupts, saying that she does know, but the reputation couldn't be deserved since they have never set foot on the reservation. Billy is guarded, but says that is true, and she seems more well informed about them than he expected. Bella stares at him and responds that she might be even better informed than him. Billy says maybe, but is Charlie just as well informed? Bella says that Charlie likes the Cullens a lot. Billy gave a look that told Bella that he was unhappy, but also not surprised. Billy continues, saying that it's none of his business, but maybe it is Charlie's. Bella comes back, quote, though it would be my business again, whether or not I think that it's Charlie's business, right? Bella's got some sass.
Bella's got some sass, and you do not see this in the movie, Bella. Like, there's a little interaction between them, but you don't get as much of the clever wit. You get more, like, anxious, just throwing words, where, like, this Bella is, no, this is a strategic, like, boing, arrow.
Yeah. No, and this is the start of what my thoughts. What?
What?
This is the start of what started my thoughts that caused me to text you saying I can't see Kristen Stewart being a good Bella. It's this chapter and then the next two chapters. I'm like, I'm sorry. I cannot, and I obviously haven't really watched it, but it's on in the background. I've explained it many times. I can't see her playing Bella. I can see Robert Pattinson playing Edward really well. I can't see Kristen playing Bella well at all. No offense to those that love her, because I know some people do, but I can't see it.
It's interesting. If I recall correctly, I can't remember her name right now. It's driving me nuts. But the actress who plays Rosalie in the Twilight series, I believe she had tried out for the role of Bella.
And probably would have been better.
I think so, because she had taken on more. She married Ian Somerhalder from Vampire Diaries. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember her name right now. I want to say like last name is Hale. Not crucial, but she had tried out, and her previous roles have been more heavy. Like, I think one of her big roles, I don't remember the movie, Emotion, but she had played like a sexually abused and runaway teenager.
Wow.
She had done a couple other things where it's just like these very dark, heavy roles where I'm like, that intense emotional background, I think would have helped a lot and would have conveyed a little bit more of this pointedness that Kristen Stewart just wasn't able to necessarily come across with. She nailed the awkward part,
but not much beyond that.
No, I think it would have been nice to have her and the actress who played Rosalie, if they could just like have a cross between the two.
Do you know who, in my head as I'm reading, who I'm picturing being Bella? Do you know the actress Lucy Hale?
Yes.
Yeah. I could see her playing Bella. And that's who I'm picturing in my mind. Maybe it's because I'm going through another Pretty Little Liars phase, I guess. But like,
yes, no, I could see her. I had to remember which one she was because I was thinking of.
She was Arya.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, I think she could have been a good one.
Yeah, she portrays the being scared without saying she's scared. She can portray the awkward. She can be the big, strong, independent girl, even though she's really tiny. Like, in my mind, she fits perfectly. Now, I don't know if it would work well, but that's who I'm picturing in my mind, at least.
And again, no hate on Kristen Stewart, because I could not do a good job in that. Like, I have no misillusions at all. Then she did the best with what she was working with. She was directed in certain ways, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not bashing on her at all.
No.
It's just one of those moments where, like, sometimes casting is spot on. Like the actress who plays Luna Lovegood in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Amazing.
And that, oh my gosh, do you know the story of how she became? Yes, even better. If you don't know, go look it up. It's amazing.
It's amazing. But like when there's those, sometimes a character fits so well with the actor who's playing them. And then other times, kind of like this, there's just a bit of a disconnect that when you know the source material, it makes it a little more difficult.
Right. Yeah.
But then also because the movies were so popular, I just synonymize Kristen Stewart with Bella.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And me not paying attention, I have no connection to it whatsoever.
Yeah. That was a little side note there, but let us know in the comments if you agree. Do you think Kristen Stewart did a good job? Do you kind of agree with us where like it would have been really interesting to see the actress who played Rosalie play?
Well, I have no idea who she is.
Agree with me that the actress who played Rosalie would do a really good job. She did a great job as Rosalie, but as Bella, or what do you think? Mm-hmm. And it's okay if you love Kristen Stewart in that role too. Like,
or do you think Lucy Hale would be a good Bella?
Lucy Hale or someone else?
Yeah, let us know who you think. When you were reading this, who was your Bella in your mind? Who did you picture? Because you're picturing someone, so who did you picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get back into this. We've been tangenting for a little bit.
No, it was a related tangent.
It was a related tangent. So Billy finally surrenders and agrees. He says that she just needs to think about what she's doing. When Bella says, okay, he frowns and instead says he means to not do what she is currently doing. At that moment, Jacob came inside, banging the door on his way in and complaining that there wasn't a picture anywhere in the car. Billy grunted that he must have left it at home. Jacob rolls his eyes, and Billy tells Bella to tell Charlie, then pauses, and continues that they stop by.
Strategic.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Tell Charlie. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong.
No, if we're coming in from the perspective of, like, for example, if this was our children involved and like you're Bella's parent and
dear God,
and I'm Billy, I would definitely be in the same boat where I'd be like, you gotta tell your mother.
Yep.
Because I would be like, this is damn near impossible for me not to tell you.
Well, especially if I love whoever the family is. Mm-hmm. And I know that you don't like them. Okay, can we not? This wouldn't happen.
No, we would still tell each other.
Exactly. Anyways, Jacob disappointedly says that he'll see her later and the black sleeve. After their car was gone, Bella went upstairs and decided on what she would wear. She decided on a flannel shirt and jeans since she would be in a raincoat all night anyways. The phone rang and it was Jessica. The dance was yesterday, and I totally forgot that there was a dance going on.
Oh my God, yeah. That was the Girls Ask Boys one, right?
Yeah, it feels like so long ago. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also mentioned to Connie, like, from this chapter, the last two chapters onwards, it feels like a completely different book. Well, so far, I haven't finished the book, but like...
No, it will.
Yeah, it feels like a completely different book. And so I just spaced on the dance. I was reading that. I was like, what dance? Oh, okay. So
now it's an exciting book.
Yeah. So Jessica had to give Bella the full rundown and then excitedly said that Mike kissed her. Jessica then moves on to asking what she did yesterday. Bella begins to say not a lot. And then Charlie gets home, and once Charlie comes inside, she uses that as an excuse to hang up on Jessica. On his way inside, Charlie had put the fish that he caught that day in the freezer, Bella goes back out to grab them before they freeze so she can use them in the fish fry that Billy brought, which is why I said it's not actually fish fry, it's like fish
Batter?
batter. I mean, to fry. Whatever. Charlie's eyes light up when Bella told him that Billy dropped off his favorite fish fry. After making the food, Bella and Charlie sit at the table and start eating. Charlie asks what she did that day. Bella tells him this afternoon she just hung out around the house, but she spent the morning at the Cullens. Charlie dropped his fork and astonishingly asks, Dr. Cullen's place? What were you doing there? Bella tells him that she had a date with Edward tonight and that Edward wanted her to come over to introduce her to his parents. Charlie looks as if he is having an aneurysm.
God, we love Charlie.
I love Charlie. And Bella asks if he's okay. Charlie finally responds, is she going out with Edward Cullen? Bella says she thought he liked the Cullens. Charlie starts to rant that he's too old for her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, does he know? Or is he just... Yeah.
No, Charlie don't know.
Bella tells him that they're both juniors. And at this, Charlie pauses and asks, which one is Edwin?
God, we love Charlie. Oh.
Bella corrects him, saying Edward is the youngest with reddish brown hair, and in her head continues, quote, the beautiful one, the godlike one, ... Charlie responds, quote, oh, well, that's ... better, I guess. I don't like the look of that big one. I'm sure he's a nice boy and all, but he looks too mature for you. Is this Edwin your boyfriend? End quote.
I forgot about that part.
I love Charlie.
I love Charlie.
As I was reading this, I started getting like watery eyes because I was laughing so hard, but I'm starting to get it again.
Yep. I can just see it because the actor who played Charlie did such a good job. That was a good cast in my brain.
Okay.
So I can just see him there and like, oh, good job.
So Bella corrects him again and says sort of. Charlie picks up his fork again, giving Bella a sign that the worst was over. Charlie continues saying that she told him she wasn't interested in anyone in town, but Bella says, Edward doesn't live in town, but this is at the early stages, so don't embarrass her with all the boyfriend talk, and Edward will be here in a few minutes. I do want to say something. When he asked her that, because we had a conversation about this, that is not what was said. That is not what was said because you interrupted me and you're like, no, it's all the boys in town. I'm like, no, it's not. Stephanie.
Because the movie, it is boys in town.
Consistency. You're not being consistent.
No, well, let's add that on the list of questions we have for Stephanie. That's a growing list.
Yeah. We're finding a lot of things that just are contradicting itself. And
oh, yeah, that and eating teardrops. I'm not letting go of that.
He was tasting Connie. He was tasting her. So
oh yeah,
Bella,
this is a PG book. Oh yeah.
Sure. Bella tells him that they will be playing baseball with his family. Charlie chuckles, saying, "You're playing baseball? You must really like the guy."
Yeah, we like Charlie.
Yeah, I love Charlie. Bella sighs and rolls her eyes, and just then there is a roar from an engine in the front of the house. Bella jumps up to start cleaning the dishes, but Charlie says to leave the dishes. He can do them. She's babying him too much. I know.
If this was a drinking game, you'd be dead by now because we love Charlie. It's like 7 in a row.
We need a green flag with the red flags that we're getting.
Charlie is our green flag.
Charlie is our green flag.
We like Charlie.
I know. So the doorbell rang and Charlie answered. When he opened the door, there was Edward, and it was pouring outside. Quote, Edward stood in the halo of the porch light, looking like a male model in an advertisement for raincoats. End quote. Some of these quotes I just have to include because, like, what was that necessary? No.
I will
Okay.
give some credit, though. Robert Pattinson, especially as Edward, very attractive. The hair is something else we can discuss, but very attractive bone structure. So I get it. And I think he did model, so accurate.
I could see it. The first time I ever saw him on screen was Harry Potter, so.
And he did well as Cedric Diggory.
The end, sorry. I think of Cedric and I think of the end, and I'm sorry. That's just where my brain is.
Oh, dead in the spoiler. Oh, for flub's sake, you should know Cedric dies by now.
My boy.
Oh,
That's
I
what
forgot that part.
I know, I'm tearing up just thinking about it.
Happy thoughts.
We will get to Harry Potter one day.
Don't worry, he lives and goes and eats tears.
He dies in Harry Potter and then becomes a vampire and then goes to Twilight.
And then gets creepy.
Yeah.
He wasn't being all creepy with Cho in Harry Potter, but got to be creepy with Bella.
Oh, I'm excited for when we get to eventually go to Harry Potter. I don't know when that will be. We have a whole list of books we want to do, so.
We're getting there. Only so many hours in a day.
Mm-hmm. I know if this was our full-time job, we could literally put one out a day.
That would be nice.
If you want that to happen, make sure you're subscribed.
Like, subscribe, follow.
Yes.
Interact with us, please. We're lonely.
Please do. We are.
It's just us, our dogs, and our husband.
We get so excited when people comment.
We do. We actually love it.
We literally screenshot. By the way, if you want to do spoilers, you can, because I won't look at them. Connie will, but we get so excited. We just screenshot and send to each other. Look, we got someone.
We did. We just had someone comment on one of our shorts. I think it was either Twilight or the
Drew.
It might have been the Drew Shodine. I said Shodin the entire episode and then found out afterwards it's Shodine. My bad. But someone commented on a short. They're like, first like, subscribe, or first
like and comment and view. Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, thank you.
We were very excited about that.
Very excited.
All right, so back to Twilight. Charlie invites Edward inside, and Bella sighs in relief that Charlie actually got his name right after calling him Edwin several times. Edward thanks him and addresses him as Chief Swan, and Charlie tells him to call him Charlie. Charlie takes his raincoat from him and tells Edward to have a seat. Edward sits on the only single chair in the living room. This forces Bella and Charlie to both sit on the sofa together. Bella shoots Edward a dirty look, and Edward gives her a wink.
Again with the winking.
I know, but this is probably the only context that it's like, okay.
It does fit. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Charlie starts the conversation. Quote, so I hear you're getting my girl to watch baseball. Edward tells him that that's the plan, and Charlie says, well, more power to you, I guess. Both Charlie and Edward start laughing, and Bella stands up saying, that's enough, let's go. Charlie tells Bella not too late, and Edward promises to have her back early. Charlie tells Edward to take care of his girl, and Edward reassures him that she will be safe with him. Bella stomps off with Edward and Charlie chuckling behind her. In the driveway waits a Jeep that's all beefed up. If you're interested for the specifics, it's on page 292. Charlie lets out a low whistle and chokes out to wear their seatbelts.
I do remember that part. She does describe the Jeep in quite a bit of detail. Sorry, I have dog hair stuck in my chapstick.
It's annoying.
It's a hazard of the job.
Yeah, it's like the tops of the wheels come up to Bella's waist or something like that, and it's a big beefed up Jeep. Yeah. I'm assuming Jeep Wrangler. That's how it's described.
I assume that was the default.
Yeah.
It's like when you say Subaru, default
Yeah.
Outback.
Yeah. So Edward opens the passenger door for Bella, and Bella hesitates, noticing the distance between her and the seat because of the really high tires. Edward just sighs and lifts her with one hand, and Bella hopes that Charlie didn't notice.
Where is he grabbing her to lift?
It didn't say. It's PG, Connie. How are you lifting a person with one? I only have one thing like that I'm thinking of, and I'm sure you're the same. So
I was.
yeah. Continuing, Edward walked around to the driver's side, and Bella tried to figure out how to put on the seatbelts, but there were too many buckles. It was meant for off-roading. Edward just sighs again, reaches over, and puts them on for her. Luckily, it was raining so hard that there was no way that Charlie can actually see what's going on from the front porch. Edward then turns on the Jeep and they pull away. Bella tells Edward that this is a big Jeep, and he tells her that it's Emmett's. He figured that Bella didn't want to run the whole way. Bella asks if he's going to put his seatbelt on, and Edward only gives her a disbelieving look. Then the rest of what he said sunk in. Run the whole way, as in they still have to run a part of the way. Edward grins, saying that she isn't going to run. She just needs to close her eyes and she'll be fine. Remember how that worked out last time?
Yep.
So Bella's anxious, for good reason.
Understandably.
And Edward leans over to kiss the top of her head, and he groaned. He explained that she smells so good in the rain, in a good and bad way. Edward stops and tells her that they have to go on by foot from there. Bella tells him that she'll just wait here. Edward asks what happened to her courage from the morning, but Bella tells him that she hasn't forgotten about last time. Edward was around the car and unbuckling her instantly. Bella protests, saying that she'll get them, he should go. Edward is amused. He finishes and says, quote, "It seems I'm going to have to tamper with your memory," end quote. He pulls her from the Jeep and sets her feet on the ground. Edward asks what exactly is worrying her. Which, good. I'm glad that you're taking the time to
ask
yes. And understand. You should know.
I would also be terrified of being carried while my significant other is going, like, I would be worried.
Mm-hmm. So Bella says, hitting a tree, getting sick, and dying.
I do like the order she puts those in.
Uh-huh. Same. Good job, Bella.
I would maybe switch 1 and 2 around. Getting sick, hitting a tree, then dying.
Actually, I think that was I don't think it was that order. Now that you said that, I think that was my order because that's what I wanted it in.
See,
let's consult
the book. But my brain is like, I would not want to get sick anywhere near a family of vampires. End of sentence. But
I smell everything.
Yeah, but also if my significant other's family who I just met, because that's nerve-wracking enough, meeting your significant other's parents for the first time. God, I still remember when I met my husband's parents for the first time. Granted, it was memorable because my mother-in-law is a memorable person. See? It's nerve-wracking, isn't
it? Different context. Yeah. But yes, it is. It is very nerve-wracking. And the first time I met them, no, but different circumstances. And this was, but anyways, so that was my order.
Oh, so what's the legit order?
The legit order is hitting a tree, dying, and getting sick. Which is probably why my brain just rearranged it as I was typing.
Yeah, I can see why you would rearrange.
Yeah. It's like Hermione in Harry Potter. you before you come up with another clever idea for getting us killed or expelled.
Or worse, expelled.
Yeah,
there we go.
Why did I blank? I've seen it so many times.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea of getting us killed or worse, expelled. There we go.
I can see the scene in my head.
Oh, Emma Watson.
That's another example
so
of
good.
perfect casting.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Emma Watson is Hermione Granger.
Yeah.
Even still, Rupert Grint is Ron Weasley,
Yep.
and
why did both of us blank on that? Dan Radcliffe. I didn't even finish typing. Daniel Radcliffe. Whoa. My God.
I was seeing his face. I'm like,
I know
him.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Oh, wow. Also, sorry if that accent offends anyone. It offends me. I'm not good at accents.
So her order is hitting a tree, dying, and getting sick.
All legitimate concerns, but maybe let's switch them around.
So he fought back a smile and bent down to kiss her at the hollow of her throat and asks if she's still worried.
Here? Stephanie.
This is a PG book, guys. Context clues lead it quickly elsewhere. So Bella says yes about trees and getting sick. She was struggling to focus now. He lifted his head up, and Bella felt his cold breath on her skin. She gasped, tree, and motion sickness.
Oh, so he's like purposely trying to
actually,
her.
Yeah.
And so she's barely focused. She's like, okay, tree, motion sick.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, I'm just going to keep breathing on you.
He kisses her eyelids and says she doesn't really think he would hit a tree now, does she? Bella admits no, but she might.
Her eyelids? Styes. Germs. No. Makeup. Oh wait, she doesn't wear makeup because she's not like other girls. It's that era.
Yeah. He kissed her cheek and he was kissing her cheeks and stopped before actually kissing her on the lips, so he was like making his way down. Asking if he would let a tree hurt her. She says no. Edward, still not moving, says, "See, there's nothing to be afraid of." Bella says no, and he kisses her.
Stephanie, PG, really?
You're leading elsewhere. Bella again starts getting a little into the kiss, and Edward staggers backwards, saying, "Damn it, Bella, you'll be the death of me, I swear."
Oh, yeah.
So he throws her across his back, and Bella braces herself, and Edward reminds her to close her eyes. He takes off, and before she knows it, they're there. Bella opens her eyes and slips on the ground and lands on her back.
Ow.
Yeah, I've done it. It hurts. It doesn't feel good.
Also, Edward, if you're so fast, why didn't you catch her?
Bella stands up, ignoring Edward as he's laughing at her, and Bella tries to brush the mud off of her.
Red flag. Nope.
I do want to specify it's a red flag because he could have prevented it.
He could have prevented it.
Also, make sure that they're okay before you start. Or if you, sometimes I start chuckling before I can get out, "Are you okay?"
So do I, depending on certain things. But like, it's only if it's a very minimal, like, I know you're good.
Yeah.
But granted, maybe we take wiping out on the back a little more seriously because ice up here, where like when you've gone down on your back, that's when I got concussed. Yeah.
I went forward and messed up my shoulder, so
Yeah, we take falling a little different in the Midwest. I mean,
We
it's not
do.
good anywhere, but
a little more serious up there.
yeah, people have died up here from slipping on ice and landing the wrong way.
It's true.
Yeah.
I've responded to those calls.
Yep.
So Bella takes off toward the forest because she's mad. Edward grabs her arm and asks where she's going. Bella tells him to watch a baseball game. He doesn't seem to be interested in playing, but the others will have fun without him. Bella got sass.
Go Bella.
Edward informs her that she's going the wrong way. She turns around without looking at him and stomps off in the other direction.
Now this is tracking with a 17-year-old girl.
Absolutely.
This is tracking with me.
Yes. Same.
Oh, if Johnny dropped me on my butt like that after being like, would I let anything hurt you? Have at it, gravity. I'd be mad. I'd be a little mad.
Edward catches her again and says, "Don't be mad. He couldn't help it." Bella points out he's the only one who's allowed to be mad, and Edward says yes, he was mad, but not at her. How could he? She is brave, trusting, and warm. He was frustrated with himself for continuously putting her in danger. He loves her, but that's a poor excuse for what he's doing. Edward tells her to try to behave herself and kisses her again. Everyone was there waiting. So we're just going right past that into this. So Esme, Emmett, and Rosalie were the closest, and a few hundred yards out were Jasper, Alice, and Carlisle. And Carlisle looked to be marking the bases, and they were very far apart. Do you have something to say?
Behave.
I knew. I was waiting for that to catch up. There we go.
Oh, it was there. I was like, you want to keep going, but I'm like, we're gonna circle. Behave.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Behave. Oh. Okay. Bella, you are a better person than I am, because that is like a secret agent code word, trigger word that is gonna unlock the crazy inside of me. Do not. Don't. If my husband ever watches this, unlikely. Johnny, if you ever watch this, if you tell me to behave, not gonna go well. Not gonna go well.
Why did I think I could just let that one slide past?
You tried. I'll give you credit, but that was not weird. Woo! Nope. That got me sweating.
All right. Well, so the group gets ready to play, and Esme asks if she and Bella should go down now. She isn't playing. She prefers to referee and keep them honest. Bella tells Esme she sounds like her mom, and Esme laughs, saying she thinks of them, the others, as her children in most ways. She could have never... Okay, this part...
When we get to hear a bit of Esme's story,
so
yes.
sad.
I know.
So, she could never get over her mothering instincts. She then asked if Edward told her that she had lost a child. He hadn't, but wasn't really his place to tell her. That's not his story to tell.
No, it's really not.
Esme says that the first and only baby she had died only a few days after he was born. It broke her heart, and that is why she jumped off the cliff. Bella was shocked because Edward said that she fell. Esme smiles and said that he's always the gentleman.
He just told her to behave. So Esme, I'm sorry, sweetie.
Hey, Connie, have you read smut books?
It's been a little bit since I've read a few, but yeah.
Being told to behave is a kink.
I don't think Edward meant it that way.
No, he didn't, but like...
I think it meant more teasing. But again, I'm also from, that Italian-Irish background, where if you tell an Italian-Irish woman to behave...
Those are fighting words.
That is, I'm just saying, not the greatest idea in the world.
No. But we're going back to Esme and her very sad story.
We'll go back to Esme's sad story.
So Edward was the first of her new sons. She has seen him that way, even though he was in one way older than her. And that is why she is so happy that Edward found Bella. He's been on his own for too long, and it hurt her to see him alone. She doesn't mind that Bella is Bella because she is what he wants, and it will work out somehow. Foreshadowing?
Yes. And also, it's been a minute, but I believe that I think Esme is technically older than him, because I think they were born about the same time, because they got turned not super far apart.
They were, but she was older than him when she was turned.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why she said in one way.
Oh, I thought I misheard. That was on me. My bad.
Yeah, in one way, he is older, as in he's an older vampire, but their actual ages when they turned, he was younger than she was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So Esme stopped. They had reached the edge of the field, and the rest of them formed teams. Edward was in the left field. Carlisle was between first and second base, and Alice was on the pitcher's mound. Emmett was swinging an aluminum bat, which at first, by the way, when I first read that, I'm like, are they just having fun getting electrocuted or what? That is where my mind jumped to when I heard aluminum bat with the thunderstorm.
My brain went to aluminum linoleum. If you don't know what that's about, look at some of our outtakes. We do vocal warm-ups before episodes.
We do. So Esme called out and started the game. When Emmett hit the ball, Bella instantly understood why they have to play with thunder. Bella watched the ball and murmured home run. Esme told her to wait and then calls out. Edward is far out and has the ball in his hand. Esme explains that Emmett hit...
Edward caught it.
Yeah.
Bella couldn't see it.
Sorry. The writing for this, I had to reread that section so many times because it was so poorly written.
Yeah, I believe it. I was trying to remember the scene from the movie, and I'm like, I think I remember this. Yeah, no, Edward caught it.
Yeah, Edward caught it. And Esme explains that Emmett hits the hardest, but Edward is the fastest.
There we go. Yes. Okay, now I remember that portion.
Yeah, apologies. That section was really hard to read. Another reason the thunderstorm is necessary is when they collide, they sound like a crash of massive falling boulders. Edward sprinted to Bella with excitement in his eyes and asks what she thinks. Bella says she won't be able to watch another dull Major League Baseball game again, and she's disappointed because it would be nice to find one thing that he didn't do better than everyone else on this planet. I mean, everyone has that one friend that is just good at everything they do, even if you're like, this is new to you, here you go, and then they're just automatically good. There's always that one person. So the score was changing constantly as the game continued, and Esme occasionally had to call them to order. The thunder continued, but they were dry like Alice predicted. Carlisle went up to bat. Edward was catching, and Alice gasped. Their eyes met. In an instant, Edward was at Bella's side.
And so it begins.
Carlisle and Esme, in concern, ask, what is it? Alice says they're traveling quicker than she thought. They heard them playing, and their path changed. All eyes move to Bella, and Carlisle asks how soon. Alice says less than 5 minutes. They're running, and they want to play. Carlisle asks if Edward can make it, but Edward says not caring, ... but continues, the last thing they need is for them to catch Bella's scent and start hunting her. Emmett asked how many. Alice says only 3. Emmett scoffs. 3, let them come.
We like Emmett.
I really like Emmett. Carlisle finally decides that they continue the game. After all, they're only curious. Edward tells Esme to switch with him. He will call out now. Edward tells Bella to take her hair down, and Bella obeys. He tells her to stay still, keep quiet, and don't move from his side. His voice was stressed, although he tried to hide it. Edward pulls her long hair forward around her face, and Alice tells him that that won't help. She could smell her across the field. Bella asks what Esme had asked him. She asked whether they were thirsty or not. The second game continued. Now and then, Bella noticed Rosalie's eyes on Bella. They were expressionless, but something made Bella think that she was angry. Edward didn't pay attention to the game. He then apologizes to Bella, muttering that it was stupid and irresponsible to expose her like this. Edward's breath suddenly stopped, and his eyes zeroed in on the right field. He took half a step and angled himself between her and whatever was coming. Quote, Carlisle, Emmett, and the others turned in the same direction, hearing sounds of passage much too faint for my ears. End quote. And end of chapter 17. We are getting there.
Are we doubling this one, 17,
No.
18? Oh, y'all are going to have to wait for the next chapter.
We are doubling the next two. We are doubling 18, 19. So 18 is The Hunt, and 19, if I can scroll to it, and 19 is Goodbyes. And that's why I put those two together, because I know you know. Right.
No, it's going to be good. I wish I remember more about what the others were thinking during this game. I mean, I remember that Edward listens in.
I'm pretty sure we're not at the point where you were excited to tell about.
Yeah, no, we're not. Nope. It's next chapter. No, but I don't remember a ton of it. I do remember that Edward notes that he's surprised how much of Esme's story she's sharing with Bella, where this becomes a theme that people just want to tell Bella their stories, and Edward's like constantly surprised by that. And I was like, oh, I do remember liking that part, because, and I've told you this happens to me, people tell me their stories unprovoked. And sometimes it's amazing and I get to have a really good connection. Other times
I didn't want to know that.
I would have paid not to know what I know, but here I am. So I was like, oh, I remember that being like really sweet. And so Edward's like, oh, like my mom likes her. And it's like this very sweet little moment.
Cute.
And I do remember he was listening in on Rosalie. And I think Rosalie was making some not so nice comments because she knew Edward was listening.
I figured.
They very much have what you would think a brother-sister relationship would be.
I can picture that well.
Yeah, of more like the fighting, like love you, will kill for you. I also want to punch you. So like,
I feel that.
There's that. And I think Emmett was just kind of do.
In the next couple chapters, I love Emmett and Alice. And then Jasper surprised me.
Jasper, yup. The more you learn about them, the more you're going to like them.
I know.
And I will say, if you don't already really like Rosalie, by the end of the series, you will really like Rosalie.
I was going to say, right now, as even up to where I have read, which is just the next 2 chapters, we don't know anything about Rosalie much. She just has these snarky comments, and that's it.
You'll learn more about her later.
And that's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah. And like, I won't spoil it too much, but once you know her backstory and you understand her character more, the snarky comments, you see them in a different light.
Well, I figured that's why I'm not putting the snarky comments really in, because they're why.
No.
I think I may have put in like one of the next couple chapters, there was one thing, but
she's got some zingers.
She does.
No, she's good. We'll like her.
But yeah, like I said, this is a different book.
Yeah, now we get to the fun.
I told Connie, I was like, I did not expect Twilight to have a plot. But why did the plot have to start this late? I would say the plot really started chapter 15. Why did it take 15 chapters and over two quarters of the, not 2/4, 2/3 of the book? Why did it take 2/3 of the book to actually get to a point where we have a plot?
There was a lot of world and character building.
I know, but if you're gonna do that, make the rest of the
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of character and world building on the Cullens, the part that was, the really interesting part. And like, you do still get some of the humanity part of all of it. You'll get more of it in New Moon without spoiling anything. Those who know. But yeah, I do wish we had gotten a little bit more into the vampire stuff a little bit quicker, because it didn't feel like a vampire novel per se for the first 10 chapters.
Yeah, I mean, chapter 15. So just to give you guys a visual, it's well over halfway. Like, chapter is that 14? All right. This is the beginning side of the book. That's where chapter 15 starts.
Yeah, that's like 2/3.
Yeah.
60-some%.
But then, if you really want to go to this chapter, because the game is, where the actual plot starts.
Yeah, it's more like 70.
That's how much plot we get. The rest is just filler.
Basically, yeah. Granted, to my memory of the rest of the books, that's kind of like the only additional real like filler you get. There's a little bit in New Moon, but that's the one that I remember by far the least.
Yeah, I just expected this whole saga to be filler. I did not expect any plot. Well, I mean, you go over half the book and you're like, well, there's been nothing so far, so like
I know people accuse this podcast of being a slow burn. That is a slow burn. Like, no. That is slow.
Yeah. We're trying to get better, by the way.
We are. Our tangents are much less than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
They're much more pointed now.
Yep.
At Eddie Boy.
And we are more concise about a lot.
We are. Practice.
Yeah.
First time podcast for both of us.
Yeah. This is brand new territory, so we're learning,
filtering down our conversations, because normally our conversations go hours. So
yeah,
improvement is what we're saying here.
Yeah. All right. Well, be sure to follow us on all of our social medias. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S. That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.
I am so excited to talk about the next chapter.
I know.
We're finally getting to the good stuff.